Hi everyone, my name is Ken. Welcome to this house. Today we are in the Fox Park neighborhood exploring an 1886 Italianate. We were invited out here to check out this private residence by a lovely couple on r/St. Louis on Reddit. Let's take a moment to see the outside before we go inside and explore. We've just walked inside of this house, and one of the first things that really catches us is the historic front door. So we can notice how there are 9 panels laid out below the window, and above that is a transom window that is encased by ornate millwork. Directly in front of us is a staircase that winds up to the side to the second floor landing, and we'll go explore that in just a little while. Shifting our focus back down, there's a very elaborate newel post here. We can see that it's rounded on top, and then it has rosettes on all 4 faces, and then fluting that goes down the center of it. As we explore this house, we're going to see some other really unique features, and that's because this house was designed and lived in by Thomas F. Marley, an architect who designed residential homes in St. Louis in the late 1800s. So this house was built in 1886, and he actually lived here. So to show off to his clientele, he included some details that were not so common in this era, just to showcase what he could do. So if we take a closer look at this banister, we can actually see how it curves and wraps down towards the newel post. And we can also see how it was constructed, because here we can clearly see the segmented piece of wood, showing that the banister would have been built in the house and sanded down in several blocks until it finally met this shape. And of course, these spindles are also fairly elaborate as well. We can see their different shapes as they go all the way up the staircase. And to add to all of the different architectural elements in this house, at the end of the stair hall is a rounded arch, and the arch that we're about to pass through to go to the parlor is a segmented arch. So let's walk on in here, and immediately this space starts to open up. We can see that it has 2 windows in the front, both with millwork that matches the millwork around the front door. And then there's only one on the side of the fireplace. Now, crossing to the opposite side of the room is a very special fireplace. So this is iconic of the Italianate style. We can see that it has tapered legs that come down to the floor, as well as a rounded archway opening where the original cast iron inset would have been. Now this fireplace is solid cast iron, so it would be considered period accurate to have it painted, as it would have always been intended to be painted in earth tones such as terracottas, blues, greens, or even whites or browns. Moving along from the parlor, we're now going to cross into the dining room underneath this grandiose trefoil arch. So come on through here. Now, walking into this dining room, there are some details worth pointing out. So of course, the architect who designed this place wanted to maximize ventilation while also increasing aesthetics. So once again, we see another window just on one side of where the fireplace would have been. Now, directly across from the arch where we entered is another really large window. Once again, the millwork matches the millwork that we saw in the first 2 rooms. And this would allow for cross ventilation as it goes into the living room. And the window appears to be centered to the space. Now, something really interesting is there is a cutout that comes out at an angle on this side of the room. And this allows for there to be a back entryway. And if you were to continue around here, you would get to the kitchen. We've seen everything that we're now going to see on the first floor. At the owner's request, we're going to skip the kitchen, which is right behind me, and we're going to head upstairs. So let's go on up here. As we make our way up these stairs, we can pause as it starts to turn towards the stair landing. The rounded millwork is seamless as it comes up here, so let's just take a moment to see this. And before we arrive at the top of the stair landing, there's one more incredible detail to point out. Of course, this house was designed by an architect and not just your average craftsman. So the classical principles of architecture were applied to the design of this home. If we look at the trim piece here, it lines up with the center point of the spindle. And that's just not something that we see a lot in old Italianate homes, as they would have just been designed by lay people and then decorated as they saw fit. This one actually applies geometrical principles. So let's come on up the stairs and continue exploring. Arriving at the top of the stair hall landing, we can now take a moment to look at the secondary newel posts that are present here. So of course, the banister comes out at a right angle and connects to the wall, allowing for there to be a more open void here in the stair hall to make the space feel a lot larger. And where the banister meets the wall, if we look down below, we can see how the baseboard also curves to start going from horizontal to vertically oriented. And looking around, we can see that the millwork up here still matches the millwork that we saw on the first floor. And of course, this house was a show house, so it would have been very uncommon for the layperson's house to have had millwork that was this extravagant on the second floor, because usually guests would not have seen this. Now, as we pass into the owner's bedroom, we're going to see more examples of this. Come on through here. And as we look around this bedroom, we can see a former encasement for a fireplace that would have been here originally. And of course, that's no longer in existence. However, the window that's on the side of the bed lines up with the window next to the fireplace below, once again speaking to the architectural character of this house. Now, as we look at the front-facing part of the bedroom, we can see that instead of there being a large space between the windows, now they are closer together, and this will allow for more natural light to come in the same angle. Centered to this side of the room is an opening for a dressing room. So let's go ahead and peek on in here. There are these double French doors that are rounded at the top, which conceal a rounded window. So if you were to close these, you can see that there is privacy glass to allow for a little bit more modesty while using the dressing room for its intended purpose. David and Brooke, I want to thank you both so much for opening up the doors to your house for us. Can you tell us a little bit about what first drew you to this house?
You were the first one to see it.
I was. Funny story. This was the only house we looked at that we weren't both there for the tour. David was out of town, but when I came into the house, it just had a really good feeling, and I loved the details of the archway and the natural light in most of the rooms. And the yard in the back is really nice as well.
For me, it was a few specific elements that really showed that there's a lot of stories to be told from this house. The archways, the French windows upstairs, just very unique features that you don't often see in a lot of modern construction.
So what is it like for you both to live in a house that's from 1886 in the year 2022?
There are some things that you have to kind of work around. Definitely the construction is a little bit different. These are thick plaster walls versus a lot of sheetrock that's used nowadays. I would say overall though, I really enjoyed it. It does seem like a very solid construction. It's quiet, it insulates well.
Yeah, I think any house will have its quirks, so it's just learning to work with the materials that you have, like the plaster walls, and knowing that, you know, the stone foundation and everything is pretty solid. It's been here a long time, so it'll stand the test of time.
Wonderful. Well, I wish you both many happy years in this house, and thank you again for welcoming us here.
Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you everybody for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this tour. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time on This House.